Good morning, I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. Now, there have been two occasions over the course of me getting my debut EP, Her, pressed on vinyl, that I have thought to myself, or have had flashes of thinking, not in doubt, but just more in frustration, is this worth it? Have I made the right choice? Why am I doing this? Should I just fucking stop? And the answer is always a resounding no, of course not. But the first time that this happened, it was when I was massively stressing out about trying to get the artwork in the right formats, because I've never used Photoshop before and didn't realize all of these complicated things and different color variants, you know, CMYK and all of that stuff. So there was a moment then, and the second time that I had this moment of, for fuck's sake, why have I even bothered doing this, is when these arrived. These are the second lot of test pressings that I've got of my records. The first lot are there, and the reason that I ended up feeling like this is because I mentioned on Instagram that there was a problem with the first bunch of test pressings, and this bunch have got exactly the same fucking problem. And so I thought I would use this as an opportunity to talk to anyone who's potentially considering getting something pressed on vinyl about the importance of test presses. Because regardless of all the frustration and annoyance the test pressings are causing me, it's still a hell of a lot better than having 300 records show up on my doorstep that all sound kind of like shit. So if you're considering getting something pressed to vinyl, even though it might cost an extra 50, 60 pounds to do so, pay for test pressings. I cannot stress this enough. They are so crucial, because what they are the very, very first records that come off the press and off your stampers. So when a record is produced, information is engraved on a metal disc, effectively. These are called stampers. You have two of them, then a little puck of heated vinyl goes in the middle. Big hydraulic press clamps them down and engraves the information on the vinyl. And the test pressings are the very, very first ones to come off that press. And unsurprisingly, the purpose of these is to be sent to the artist or the label to listen to them, to make sure that there's nothing wrong with them. Because if you listen to 5 test pressings and every single one has a really massive pop at exactly the same point, you know that that's not a problem with it just being vinyl, and this is one of the charms of it, but it means that it's a problem with the actual stampers themselves, so they will need to be remade. And my records, unfortunately, have fallen foul to this. It's really fucking annoying. I'm having a shit time at the moment, and you know how whenever something shit happens, like lots of other shit things happen like in quick succession, it's like you can't just have, you know, one shit thing to deal with. You've got to deal with it all, and then it all gets a bit overwhelming, and then you end up, I don't know, walking around your own flat crying and listening to your broken test pressings again, like fuck's sake. Anyway, sorry, I'm digressing and going off on a bit of a rant there. Yeah, so basically everything is just a little bit shit at the moment, but I mean, it's fine, but it's really, really not fine at the same time, and this was a massive, massive annoyance. Now, the issue that I've experienced with these test pressings is a very, very odd one. Basically, there's this weird, scratchy, annoying noise that is present throughout the whole record, but it's much more noticeable in certain sections. So especially quiet sections with just a piano, you'll hear the piano start, and then in the background, there'll just be this kind of like horrible, horrible sounding thing. It's definitely not a noise floor issue. I mean, we all know that records are noisy, but in the gap between tracks, there is none of this sound. It's only when the music starts playing. And when the new test pressings arrived, I was really excited because I'd already kind of let everyone know that there was going to be a little bit of a delay, and I was expecting to put the new test pressings on my record player and just play them and it be absolutely fine, and immediately send an email approving them so that the main production can be underway. And the second that the first track on the first test pressing I listened to started, I was like, this is identical. This is exactly the same. And having been in contact with the company that I'm working with, they've confirmed that new stampers were made for the 2 different test pressings. Entirely new stampers were made, and still there's this problem. So it's very confusing. We're currently in the process of trying to work out exactly what has caused this problem and how we can avoid it. But the long and short of it is that there is going to be a further delay in shipment of the records, and for that I can only apologize. I'm really, really sorry. I was hoping that at this point I would have them. If the first run of test pressings had been approved, I would probably have all of my records right now. And now, once we've worked out what the problem is, I'll have to wait another couple of weeks for new test pressings, approve those, and then have the main shipment of records made and sent to me. So I'd originally said that I was hoping to ship things out by, you know, very early March, end of February. Now it would seem it's much more likely that that will be the middle of March to the end of March, and I am absolutely gutted about that, and I'm really, really sorry, because I know that a lot of you have pre-ordered the record and have shown your support, and I feel really awkward and guilty about how long it's been since people pledged on the Kickstarter. I mean, that was a 60-day Kickstarter, so that's 2 months, and then after that it was a while before the money came into my account. Like, this whole thing is just taking such a long time. So that's another piece of advice if anyone is thinking of pressing something on vinyl. Allow yourself a lot of time for it. Don't expect it to just happen in a week or two. But I'm probably going to do a whole video on, after this is all done, I'll do a whole video on my experience of getting something pressed to vinyl as an independent artist, for other people to watch, because it's about 20 times more stressful than I could have ever imagined. But yeah, so that's the update. It's going to be delayed again. I'm really, really sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. And I just want to say thank you so much for being patient. I haven't had one person complaining at me yet about the length of time this is taking, and I really, really appreciate that. If I could change the circumstances, I would, but I can't. So yeah, thank you for your patience and your support, and for anyone who is pre-ordering my records, because I keep getting these pre-orders coming through. It's crazy. There's going to have to ship so many of these off in one go. It's going to be quite fun, but yeah, thank you so much to anyone who is supporting me. If you wanted to pre-order one, there's a link in the description down there. I promise you'll have the record before 2020. Yeah, thank you so much for your support and for your patience. Always get test pressings if you're getting something put on vinyl, and I'll be doing another update soon. I filmed a whole video of me getting the very first test pressings. I decided when I was doing that video that I was going to listen to the very first one just once, but do that by myself and not film it, because I just wanted to experience it. And then I listened to the first one and I was just like, that is a really, really nasty problem. What's going on there? And it completely demotivated me. So at some point, when I get test pressings that I can approve and sound really, really good, I'll upload that whole video again. And just in case anyone is curious, this is one of my test pressings. And despite all of these problems and issues, it is still really cool to be able to hold that and put it on my turntable and play it, and it be my own music. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you very soon.